Hello, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to my channel. I hate rock music, and I'm going to do a series on relatively new bands or artists that I really love. And I grew up in the 60s and 70s. A lot of my posts on this channel will involve obscure bands that I love from the 60s and 70s. And as I move forward, I went through psychedelic, I went through the hard rock period, I went through the punk period, I went through the grunge period. Always found things I liked, and over the years, there's been quite a few bands that I love from all those eras, and as long as it has loud guitars and the like, I was totally into it, and then of course my musical taste broadened considerably. But certainly over the last 20 years, the bands that completely impressed me are fewer and farther between, and but the ones that stick out to me completely blow me away and are some of my favorite bands, U.S. Maple being a good example, the deconstructionist noise rock band from Chicago in the 90s, and one of my favorite bands of all time. But I've got new favorites over the last 20 years, and so I'm going to do a short series on these bands, and it'll include Dead Rider, Des Arc, Autolux, and then Rain Wolf. Rain Wolf is a total phenomenon. It's a band made up of Jordan Cook, and his backup band has shifted members over the years, but at one point it was Jordan Cook on guitar and vocals, uh, Stacy Kardash on bass, and Joseph Braley on drums. And so the band is called Rain Wolf, but his name is Dane Cook. And wow, what a long, strange trip it's been. He's been around for the better part of 20 years now, and finally came out with an album in March 2019. And so it's been a long road, and he has been touring all over the world nonstop. He even toured China. I can't imagine what Chinese audiences thought of him, but I've seen him probably 3 or 4 times. He's moved from Canada to Seattle and has been quite a presence here. And there really is nothing quite like seeing Rain Wolf live. Jordan Cook. Uh, I can't hardly even imagine a guitar player and a singer in a band that pours that much energy into their performances. He is utterly and fully committed, and his going to see him live is truly a religious experience. And so I feel lucky to have seen him 3 or 4 times. Of course, he's played in Seattle probably 50 times, and I wish I could see him every time, but just hasn't worked out that way. But he released a bunch of singles over the years, and they're really incredible. And like I say, it's kind of bizarre that after 20 years, he finally has one uh, uh, commercially released full album, March 2019, called "Hear Me Out." But going back through his history is really mind-boggling. What a presence he's had in the music world for so long. He's started out as a child prodigy in 1990 at the age of 6. And I'll post a video below. There's actually a television show that did a little special on him as a child prodigy on guitar at 6. And it includes an early performance when the guitar was bigger than he was. So this guy was born to play guitar, and the idea that he got into blues at such an early age is just crazy. And so by 1995, he put out a self-released record called Jordan Cook and the Blues Boys. Of course, by that time, he barely 11 years old. And then in 1997, released another self-released record called Time. And then a very elusive record that came out in 2010 under his own name, Jordan Cook, called Seven Deadly Sins. And he obviously made quite an impression on the local scene because his band on that record was Ben Shepherd and Matt Chamberlain from Soundgarden. It totally makes sense that he would hook up with them. And I've only heard snippets from it. I've never been able to get a copy, but what I have heard shows just an absolute rock monster. He is just an astonishing guitar player. So much energy, such a master of the blues. and the energy that he injects into his playing and the material, and even his vocals, is just unequaled. And that's saying something. I've seen a lot of high energy bands in my day, and he really is fully committed. And as a teen, he had already opened for a lot of big bands. He was in high school when he'd opened shows for Taj Mahal, Edgar Winter, Johnny Lang, Rick Derringer, and B.B. King. And in fact, 1999, um, he was still in his late teens, and he got on stage at the Montreux Jazz Festival in 1999 and played with B.B. King. And all of these musicians were totally impressed with him. And in fact, Jeff Healey once said that he was the best guitarist in the world today. And there's a lot of great guitar players who do a lot of different styles, but I'd have a hard time arguing that Jordan Cook wasn't the best guitar player in the world today. Certainly, his music is blues based, and he is a master of the blues. And then he chose this form, which I guess is somewhat associated with grunge. The fact that he moved in that direction, which is great. He could have just gone into mellow jazz or that kind of stuff, or gone into a straight blues format. But the fact is, he went into a really high energy rock format, and we're very lucky to have that, because as far as rock bands on this planet doing blues-based rock, and there's a lot of them, Jordan Cook is in a class all by himself. Unbelievable. 2013, he put out his first official single, "Are You Satisfied?" Then later, 2013, the single "In the Dark." In 2014, another single, "Lonely Sunday." And so there was a whole string of singles, hardcore. "Are You Satisfied?" "In the Dark," "Lonely Sunday," 2013, 2014. Then 2016, the single "Hardcore." 2018, the single "Wanna Don't Wanna." 2019, the single "Black and Red." 2019, single "Over and Over." 2019, the single "Ritual." 2019, the single "Keeper." And then in 2020, the single "Cabin Fever." And then in June 2022, he put out a single called "The Woods" with Brad Wilk from Rage Against the Machine on drums. And he has had a lot of attention from a lot of heavyweights for a long time. He opened for Black Sabbath's U.S. tour in 2014. So there's a lot of people and a lot of big names out there, even Aretha Franklin, that have been blown away by this guy. And it's hard for me to believe there's people out there that may not have heard him at this point. Certainly everybody here in Seattle knows about him. First time I heard his music, I was completely blown away. It reminded me of the first time I heard Nirvana. It's just consummate. Of course, by the time he put out his first single in 2013, he'd already been battle tested, been on the road for years, and he's just on tour constantly. I saw him again just 6 months ago or so, and as always, just unbelievable, just blow away. A lot of his early shows and band were just him and a drummer, but he fleshed out the band as a three-piece at one point. But as far as trios go, the amount of music that comes out of him, and I love blues-based rock music. I love blues-based, really hard rock music, and he takes it to as extreme as you can get. And he's such an incredible player. And the fact is, he's barely under control. So when you see him play, he's just a master of blues playing. But then he's barely in control. And even when things seem like they're hitting critical mass, and there couldn't be any more energy or more crazy playing, he takes it to the next level. And so I will have to say that after all these years, the album finally coming out in 2019, "Hear Me Out," isn't totally representative of the REIGNWOLF that I've come to love. And it's kind of anticlimactic, but after this many years of so many incredible records and so many incredible live shows, I can't imagine anybody not going to a show of his and coming out of there thinking he was a god. They used to call Eric Clapton a god. Well, I think REIGNWOLF is God, and I think I've said enough. I guess I want to make the point that he's one of my favorite artists in the world today. And it makes sense that he would appeal to me with my late 60s, early 70s musical values. He's definitely an extension of bands that I used to love back then that were based in the blues, like the Groundhogs and T.S. McVie. But wow, REIGNWOLF, holy shit. There's a ton of stuff out there. I'll post some more choice things. And if you haven't heard him or seen him and you like blues-based rock music that's intense and loud and crazy, you're about to have your mind blown. I'm Brian Fox. I hate rock music, although the reason I love rock music is because of insanely wonderful, great, incredible rock music like REIGNWOLF. I'm Brian Fox. I hate rock music. Oh, I already said that.